Robin Sage, I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you some stories about Robin Sage. Robin Sage was a great time, but I have made some pretty big mistakes, or I've made some pretty serious mistakes during my time in the military. I have not been a perfect Green Beret, a perfect soldier, and Gary Vee said once, you got to own your L's, you got to own your losses, and I try to do that. I try to do that because I don't want them to kind of like stay within me and haunt me and kind of like keep needling away at me. If I feel like if you expose something into the light, eventually it loses its power over you. So Robin Sage, there was one time where we got blown out of our little fire base right there, and we had to get out of there real quick. And I remember we were all kind of taking stock afterwards and doing an after action report, and I had left like one of our top secret radios like in the base. I had forgotten to like grab it, and like that was like a big deal to me. And there was another incident where I'd gone out on some operations and I had an AT4 shell with me, and we had kind of buried some stuff and went out and did some stuff, and then we came back and got it. But I had forgotten I had left that AT4 there, so we had to go at the end of Robin Sage. We had to go out and find it, and I did find it, but I made some errors, some mistakes like that where some of the guys, like I remember my captain, he's like, listen, man, I made it through, I got selected, I came about like I got evaluated about middle of the road from everybody on the team, but my team captain did not think he's like, I don't think you should have made it. I think you should recycle, but hey, you got selected, so good luck, with everything. And so I felt kind of bad about that, but Robin Sage was a lot of fun, but it was just like I learned a lot of valuable lessons there, and I think I had a little bit of grace, from some people, and so I got selected, I made it through, but I always think about that, or I think about that from time to time.
And it's always important to admit, your fuck ups, and that's something that I do religiously on my channel because the whole intent is, yeah, I made these mistakes, but guess what? You don't have to make them. But if I share it with you and I tell you, what I learned from them, like it'll just help somebody else down the road, right? It'll help
Yeah,
them be more cognizant of what they're doing. Somebody's gonna hear this, and they're gonna be at Robin Sage and they're gonna be like, oh, we're getting blown out. Oh shit, let me make sure I grab my radio or let me make sure I have all my equipment because I heard somewhere that might lead to me, getting in trouble or so on and so forth, right? It's all about
yeah,
sharing. Just like I'm sure if
yeah,
there was podcasts and all that shit out back then, you would have been doing your research and you might have heard that from somebody, right? So who knows?
yeah,
But I
yeah,
think the important thing is like we learn from them and then we keep it pushing. And you know
yeah.
what? Fuck that captain. He didn't know what he saw.
One thing, you know what, you bring up a good point. One thing I'll say, if somebody's listened to this, one thing I'll say that might help to avoid that kind of situation is the problem with what I've described about my kind of fear is that it's all self-focused. I'm always thinking about myself. I'm always thinking about I don't want to mess up. What if I do something wrong? I don't know what to do. And one thing that might help in those situations is you can't you're not it's not about you. And that's a good thing. Like you don't want to be thinking about yourself all the time and how you look and how you feel and what you like and what you don't like. You think about the job, you think about other people, you think about your teammates, you think about how you can help, how you can serve, what you got to do, what you have to do today, what your responsibilities are in service of the group, in service of the team, or in service of the mission. And I think if I had that a little bit more kind of ingrained in me, from within myself, I might have been a little more successful because I was trying to think about what to do, but I was thinking about how I didn't want to mess up. You know what I mean? And so a lot of that fear, it ends up being kind of narcissistic and kind of self-focused, which does not help you in the special forces team.